I never thought I'd be the kind of woman to have these thoughts. I love my husband. We've been together for 6 years, married for 4. We have a solid relationship, at least I thought we did. Until that one night that changed everything. It started so innocently. My husband's best friend Ryan came over for dinner. It wasn't unusual, he's been in my husband's life since they were kids. He's like family. He's handsome, charming, but I never looked at him that way. At least I hadn't before. That night after dinner, my husband went out to grab some drinks. Ryan and I stayed behind, chatting. Then, out of nowhere, he spilled his beer all over himself. "Damn it," he muttered, standing up and shaking the liquid off his shirt. I laughed and handed him some napkins. "Want me to grab you one of my husband's shirts?" "Yeah, that'd be great," he said, pulling off his soaked shirt. And that's when it happened. I turned around, holding a clean shirt, and saw him standing there, shirtless, muscles glistening under the kitchen light. He wasn't just attractive, he was breathtaking. His body was sculpted like a Greek god, and for a second I forgot how to breathe. Our eyes met, and in that moment, something shifted. He noticed. He smirked. "Like what you see?" he teased. I rolled my eyes, forcing a laugh. "Don't flatter yourself." But my heart was racing. I tossed him the shirt and turned away, trying to shake the feeling crawling up my spine. I reminded myself that he was my husband's best friend, off limits. I thought that was the end of it. But then later that night, my husband passed out on the couch after too many drinks. Ryan and I were still up, finishing our conversation from earlier. He leaned in a little too close, his voice lower, his eyes dark with something I didn't want to name. "You ever wonder what if?" he asked softly. I swallowed hard. "What do you mean?" He smiled, slow and knowing. "If we had met first." My breath caught in my throat. I wanted to tell him to stop. I wanted to remind him that I was married, that this was wrong, but I didn't, because the truth was I had thought about it. That moment stretched between us, thick with unspoken words and forbidden thoughts. Then he leaned back, running a hand through his hair. "Relax," he said, laughing. "I'm just messing with you." But was he? Because the way he looked at me said something else entirely. From that night on, I couldn't get him out of my head. Every time he came over, my skin tingled in awareness. Every accidental touch sent a jolt through me. And the worst part? I started fantasizing about him. During moments with my husband. During quiet nights when I was alone. I felt guilty. I tried to push the thoughts away, but they wouldn't leave. Then one night my husband had to leave town for work. He asked Ryan to come over and keep me company since I hated being alone in the house. I told him it wasn't necessary, but Ryan showed up anyway. We watched a movie, trying to act normal, but the tension between us was suffocating. I knew it. He knew it. Then the power went out. A storm had been raging outside, and suddenly, everything went dark. I let out a startled gasp, and before I knew it, Ryan was right there, hands on my arms, steadying me. "It's just the storm," he murmured, his breath warm against my ear. I shivered, but not from the cold. I don't know who moved first. Maybe it was both of us. One second we were standing there in the dark, the next his lips were inches from mine. My heart pounded so loudly I thought he could hear it. Then, suddenly, I snapped out of it. I pulled away, shaking my head. "No," I whispered. "I can't." Ryan exhaled sharply, stepping back. "I know." The lights flickered back on, and just like that, the moment was over. But something had changed. There was no pretending anymore. The next morning, my husband came home, clueless. Ryan acted normal, cracking jokes and acting like nothing had happened. But when he looked at me, I knew he was thinking the same thing I was. We had crossed a line. Maybe not physically, but emotionally. We were already too far gone. Now I don't know what to do. I love my husband. But I can't stop thinking about his best friend. And worst of all, I don't know if he can stop thinking about me either.